T.O. is making a sacrifice. He doesn't get that special day that, right, that the others are getting because he has a point to make. That makes the point more powerful, in fact. And the Hall of Fame, the way they behaved, an institution, was petty. An individual has a point to make at some sacrifice to himself because he was temporarily denied what he had earned.
I don't agree it's a sacrifice, by the way.
Well, but this is my interpretation of it. I think it is. Of course, who doesn't want to go and have their day?
Well, it became all about him.
It did.
He didn't have to share it the way it played out.
Yes, as it turned out, he had the most memorable speech.
Yeah.
Well, remember, still, he didn't get to go to the Hall of Fame and have that whole thing. The point is, the Hall of Fame responded in kind of a petty way, and this goes on. This is further proof. Are they entitled to make rules as they see fit? Sure, they can make whatever rules they want, more or less. That's not my beef. I don't really have a beef. I'm just letting them know you're playing yourself. You're in your feelings over T.O., and he's made his point, and they don't look good right now.
In our society, there's two kind of cops if you're doing your job. There are law enforcement officials, obviously, to make sure that we're all law-abiding citizens, and those who are not are dutifully punished. And then there's the fourth estate, which is the media. And if you're doing your job correctly, you hold people accountable. You don't sit there and say that the Hall of Fame has a right to impose and demand that somebody attends the Hall of Fame ceremony. That has absolutely, positively nothing to do with whether or not you should be a Hall of Famer. If you are a Hall of Famer, you are a Hall of Famer because of your performance on the field. What they're now doing is trying to ingratiate themselves, assuming this report is true. They are trying to ingratiate themselves in such a way that they get to dictate whether somebody is worthy or not based on their rules and regulations as it pertains to you willing to show up in Canton, Ohio. Gary Myers is the NFL reporter for the New York Daily News, a columnist. I think he does an outstanding job. He's been in the business for many, many years. He's somebody that I have tremendous respect for. But I emphatically disagreed with his position about if he had known that T.O. was not going to show up in Canton, he would not have voted for him. What does that have to do with T.O.'s performance? What does that have to do with the 15,900+ yards that he received, or the 153 touchdowns that he caught, or the 1,098 receptions that he had? It has absolutely nothing to do with it. And in the interest of full disclosure, T.O. and I spoke last night. T.O. and I spoke last night. He called me last night. We had a conversation. And one of the things that he wanted to emphasize, to re-emphasize, was why he took the stance that he took. I said to him, what do you say about the media in terms of, the 16, or rather media members from each NFL city combined with 16 alternates, 48 media members overall. They're not the ones that were waiting to celebrate you in the Hall of Fame. He said, yeah, but the Hall of Fame is the one that gave those media members the power to decide who comes in and who doesn't.
That's a great point.
And he made a great point.
That is a great point.
He said, so y'all are all sitting there talking about it's the media,
Yeah.
But who empowered the media to be the ones to make the call?
I'm glad he called you and explained that.
So when you look at it from that perspective, it's hard to ignore or diminish his argument. And more importantly, Max, it really highlights how the NFL, no matter what Hall of Fame it is, your Hall of Fame status should be determined by your on-field or on-court of play only.
That's why I'm saying they played themselves. I'm trying to remember who was the first. Was that Big Daddy in the symphony, put a quarter because you played yourself, or was that Ice-T's played yourself the song? But I'm trying to remember which came first.
Ice-T said it a lot.
Big Daddy's name, he might have done that. Big Daddy Kane may have done that. That was like 87. Anyway, the point is, since back then, I would have used that phrase on what the Hall of Fame is doing, precisely because of what you just indicated. Look, the Hall of Fame is supposed to be, in theory, a clearinghouse for this distinction that you're among the best who ever did it, right? In other words, the decision is made, and they are there to honor you, and then you're enshrined in this place. What they're actually interested in is power. They're actually interested in power. They want to make it about their opinion, not only whether you deserve the distinction on the field, but whether you're showing the proper deference and respect, and whether you're the kind of guy they want to let into their club. I suppose, again, they don't need to just be a clearinghouse for the distinction, but that's what fans and people have come to expect from Hall of Fames. And now, of course, the reason they've played themselves, they've been unmasked. Actually, they're interested in controlling a little bit more than just, here's a distinction, you're one of the best who ever been on the field.
T.O. took the power. The story's T.O. We're saying he has the best speech. We're going to remember him the most. And that's why I'm saying I don't look at it as a sacrifice, because I feel like he won in the end through how he handled it.
Well, to me, whether he won or lost, the biggest thing about it is that he was right in terms of his position about the Hall of Fame, his position about some media members who want to characterize him in such a way and allow that to be the determining factor as to whether or not he is a Hall of Famer. Look at it this way. What if the Hall of Fame sat up there and said, off-field transgressions matter? Would Lawrence Taylor be a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
They could justify not doing that. What if they sat up there and said, you know what, Jim Brown, we don't like the fact that you stood behind Muhammad Ali and protested, in protest of everything that transpired. We don't like your positions on civil rights. You know what? So even though you played great on the field, because we don't like some off-the-field stuff, that we're not going to put you in as a Hall of Famer. What I'm saying is you got to be careful about opening that Pandora's box. The way we make sure to keep everything safe and on the up and up is restricted simply to your on-field or on-court of performance of play. That's it. And mind your business about everything
But that's what I thought it was, and that's what his gripe is.
And oh, by the way, you know what? You could also put them in the Hall of Fame and just make sure you detail all the things that came with them. They had off-the-field trouble to tell their story in the Hall of Fame.
We agree about that. What should be and what is are two different things. And what I'm saying is I suppose the Hall of Fame has the right to be whatever kind of organization they want to be. But in that case, let's say what they really are, right? This is a we know it's subjective anyway, some of it, but T.O.'s not a borderline.
I'm saying we don't sit by and let them
And it should be just about the play. That's what it's supposed to be. It wasn't here, and now they'll probably have the T.O. rule.